Today, I want to talk about not biasing and judging client families. You see, this is a pretty important tutorial to me because it's a lesson I learned early in my funeral directing career. It was a fail, but it was probably one of the best fails that I could have ever had. You see, it was many years ago when I was a younger funeral director, and I'd been set an appointment with a man who'd lost his mom overnight. I was eager to stick to the training and ready for the arrangement, and then he walked in. He was different from me. He intimidated me. He didn't look like I looked, and he walked right up and I said, "Hello, I'm so sorry for your loss." And all he said was, "Where do I go now?" During the arrangement, I stuck to training. I did everything that I was taught to do. He was just giving one-word answers. He wasn't affirming anything I was trying to do. He didn't take any of my recommendations. As an arranger, I was getting really frustrated. I remember even stepping out and complaining to a coworker about him, almost to protect my own image. Fast forward to the family viewing. When the son came in, he looked nice. This is the time many times breakthroughs happen. And he came up to me and I welcomed him and I told him how beautiful his mom looked and how gorgeous all the flowers we'd received were and how wonderful our care team had done taking care of his mom. And all he said was, "Where is she?" After he left the chapel, I asked, "How was everything?" And he just kind of walked by me. So throughout the experience, I never really felt like I reached him. I was so used to connecting with families and pleasing families, but he just never got what I was trying to do. So fast forward to 2 weeks after the service. This gentleman calls in. He said, "Mr. Speaks, I'd like to come in and see you." I said, "Oh, I can talk on the phone right now." And he said, "No, I'd like to do this in person. How about 2:00? And I said, "Okay." He came in later that day carrying a white plastic bag. In that bag, I had no clue what it was, but I was like, okay, this is how it all ends. I took him to the arrangement room and we sat down. He proceeded to tell me and express more than he had in the whole experience. He said, "The last 2 weeks I've been cleaning out my parents' house. You see, his dad had passed many years ago, so it was time to sell the house." And he said, "I found something that was very special to them. You see, back in 1946, my father came back from the war, and he didn't have a lot of money, but he wanted to give his bride a beautiful Christmas present that December 25th, and so he gave her this Bible. He said, 'Mr. Speaks, I want you to have it.' And I said, 'Oh, I can't accept this.' And he said, 'No, you will.' And I said, 'Okay.' He went on to tell me that he had no clue what I was going to do with the Bible, but it was the only thing that he could give me to show me the deep gratitude that he had for what I did for his mom and for him over those few days. Wow, I did reach him. It was at that moment when I walked him out that I realized he was never the one with the problem. It was me. How dare me to expect him to affirm things that I was doing for him? How dare me to expect him to communicate the same way I communicate? Shame on me for thinking that he's going to take every recommendation. Shame on me for being intimidated because of the way he looked. And most of all, shame on me for going out and complaining to my coworkers and burdening them with that, all to protect my own image. I was the one with the problem. He never was. This is one of the most beautiful and early lessons I ever learned, and I love sharing this with mortuary school students and younger funeral directors, but I think even veteran funeral directors could hear this. When we judge, we close our hearts, and that doesn't benefit anyone. As funeral professionals, every single family we meet with are going to be different than us. That's the beauty of funeral service. It's also the challenge of funeral service.